friends, Patrick and Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today this is going to be my show today because Patrick had one that was pretty solo, so I'm just having him here as a arm candy. And hopefully he can interject now and then. But today I'm going to be talking about changing your mindset about health and healthcare. The approach that I have here is based on our mentality that we've been brought up in our more modern culture. And this goes back quite a ways actually, so I can say at least, here I am in my early 50s, and I can say that at least since I was a child, the mentality that, and I've watched throughout the decades as it has increased and become worse. And that mentality is being dependent on the medical community to do everything for us, to give us miracle drugs, miracle treatments, miracle surgeries, to make us better, healthier, happier people. And it's really a backwards mindset. And we need to go back to the right way of doing things, which is the way we were created to be. And even if you don't believe in divine creation and you're an evolutionist, this should still apply to you, because if we're evolving and we're learning how to live with nature, and we believe that nature is the right way, then we should not be dependent on synthetic drugs and unnecessary surgeries to be a healthy person. We should be evolving to just be healthier. But me and Mr. Ray, we believe in divine creation, so I believe that God gave us all the foods and everything that we need in His own creation to be able to be healthy and not be dependent on unnecessary medications and surgeries. Now, I'll be probably taking this in a slightly different direction than some of you may expect, knowing, especially those who've been following me for quite a while, because I'm big into medicinal herbs, and each year as I expand my garden a little bit more, I try to add more new medicinal herbs, or even more of the same herbs I'm already growing that I love, and I see the benefits of them. However, part of our problem, part of the mentality, when we try to switch away from the notion of there's a pill for that still falls under even the natural herbal realm. We kind of think, okay, well, I'm not going to take the big pharma miracle cure. I'm going to do this herbal miracle cure. And I think we need to break away from that mentality too. There's no one right miracle herb that's going to be good for everyone. We have to take everything into perspective as our food as a whole. Yes, I use medicinal herbs. I'll be talking about a few just to kind of show you some examples, and we use them for when we absolutely need them, kind of thing. But in general, I try to incorporate the different great herbs and foods and stuff that I know have anti-inflammatory properties, things that help with our digestion and all that kind of stuff into the meals that I make. Is there anything you'd like to add right now?
Better life through chemicals.
No. Wrong. Okay, don't listen to Mr. Rain.
Like she was saying earlier, God made us to forage and hunt, and the things out there are natural and not man-made. They're not genetically modified. They're in their natural state. Our bodies are meant to process those foods and experience life in a natural state. And that includes a sedentary lifestyle. We're not made to, sit around in front of the computer like we do a lot.
Because it's our job.
Yeah, that's something that me and Mrs. Rain need to start exercising that thought process in getting out, do more hiking and different things like that.
Which we do enjoy.
Right.
We just
I mean,
need to
it's
do
not
it
like
more.
we lay around all the
Yeah.
time, but
No.
but we need to get outdoors more. And so
Absolutely.
we've really been focusing on our YouTube channel, focusing on trying to get this up and going and off the ground. But it's really important not just to talk about health and not just talk about what's good for you, but actually put that into practice as well.
Right.
You know, you can eat all the right foods, and you can eat all the right herbs, rub all the right stuff on your skin, but it's still not really, that's only the half of it. The other portion of it is actually good mental health and good physical health.
Absolutely. Very well put and very good interjection there, Mr. Rain.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Rain.
And I want to capitalize on what he said there about going outside. I mean, this time of year, we do spend a lot more time inside because it's pretty much nonstop rain. In fact, our whole backyard right now is pretty much a mud hole between the rain, the chickens, the dogs, and us traipsing back and forth, because we do get outside for at least a few minutes every day. With that in mind, it can be kind of difficult to find, for us this time of year, to find moments to get outside. But getting outside is so very important. Any chance you get, and that's part of natural health, is getting outside, moving around. I mean, I move around a lot in the house all day. All day long I'm moving constantly, walking here, walking there, running my treadle machine, crocheting, cooking, everything. I'm constantly on the move, but I'm inside so much this time of the year that I'm not getting enough natural light, which obviously means, you know, a depletion in vitamin D and stuff like that. And sometimes during this time of the year, I will supplement with that, and we probably should add it now and then. But that, you know, the supplementation, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But whenever you can, getting outside and getting as much sunlight directly on your skin without a whole bunch of sunblock, because that stuff's bad for you too. Remember, our skin, our bodies were made intelligent. So our skin was made to react. Now, I do understand some people's skin is more sensitive to the sun. They have to be more careful. And especially if you've been inside so much, like around here, you know, when we start getting more sun, we have to be careful and expose ourselves a little bit at a time so that we don't burn. But I do it the natural way. And ever since I stopped using sunblocks, I stopped burning. So there's something to think about. And if you are prone to burning, there are still some natural things you can put directly on your skin that have certain SPFs, like coconut oil, I believe, is up to 10. And I can't remember, shea butter, I think, and there's some more, I forget what they are. If I can remember to do so, I'll try to list some right here down at the bottom that you can look into.
And those are healthy oils.
Healthy, natural oils.
I wanted to add, we have such a broad spectrum of folks that watch this channel. Some are older, some are younger, and everybody in between. And there are some folks out there that are they have physical impairments that they can't get outside. But I think all of us can do a certain amount of exercises.
Yes.
Even if you're in a wheelchair, you're disabled somehow, maybe there's some sort of exercises that you can do actually in the wheelchair. Isometrics and different things like that you might be able to capitalize on. But exercise just gives you a better outlook on life, gives you better just an all-around outlook on your day-to-day activities. So those are some of the things that I just want to clear up, because not everybody can
Right.
get outside and go hiking out in the woods,
Yeah.
but there are certain things that you can do in order to stimulate your physical being.
Right, and that is something I did want to really specify. It's not one size fits all, especially with all our different needs, especially nowadays. I see people in the YouTube community and in my Facebook that have so many dietary needs. Now, I believe that at one time we should all pretty much been eating the same thing, but because of all our different digestive issues and stuff that we're having to deal with, they're going to be unique to us, but it's all because of the toxins in our air, our water, our food, and having to counteract all this stuff and learn how to eat better and
Right.
staying away from processed foods. And so we're all having to come at it from different angles. Some people are going vegan, some people are going completely gluten-free, some people are going casein-free, which means they're not having any dairy, and it's totally going to be unique to you. And I believe that for a lot of people, once your body learns to heal itself again, once you manage to reach that full potential of health, many of you may be able to go back to consuming dairy or gluten or whatever, as long as they're the healthy forms, not the genetically modified forms and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, that have a bunch of additives to them, like the milk, you know, where they're putting aspartame in it and all that kind of stuff.
Can I
So,
interject here? I'm gonna whisper to the audience.
okay.
Raw milk.
Oh yeah, shh, that's a scary one. Ooh. Raw milk in particular. Raw milk has your live enzymes and all that stuff that actually helps with your digestion, and we kill all that stuff off in our pasteurized milk. Now all of a sudden you have a bunch of people that are lactose intolerant because of the, you know, all the natural stuff that helps with digestion is gone.
Now we might get a whole bunch of feedback on that.
I think most of the
That's
people
just-
following us would agree with that.
Yeah, okay, I agree with
Yeah.
that. But you
There'll be
know,
a
there's
few.
some folks out there that that think that raw milk is straight from the pit of hell and smells like smoke. We personally
Milk
drink
is natural
raw
form.
goat's milk and we love it. I haven't died yet. I haven't gotten sick yet. But anyway, to each their own. We're not doctors. We don't pretend to be doctors on YouTube. But just something to think
No.
about.
Or lawyers either. That's the one you can.
Yeah, or a disclaimer at the beginning here. Anyway, we're just throwing some stuff out there for you guys to think about. Things that we do, things that we think that are working. Everybody's different in its a little bit of its makeup. So depending on what ethnic group you come from, that can change.
Yeah, right, that can also have an effect on what foods are going to be best for you. And
Right.
like me, I'm Italian descent, so I have thalassemia, which is those of you who are unfamiliar with that, it is simply just a blood disorder that comes from a lot of people who are Mediterranean descent. It just means that we get too much iron in our blood, so taking iron supplements means that makes us anemic, and so we can't have iron. I can cook with cast iron as long as the iron's coming naturally from the foods, the healthy raw foods, and not fortified into the foods. I'm all good. Before I go farther into some of the things I want to say about changing the mindset, let me talk a little bit about what I've got going on over here. Now, these are things that we do herbal wise to help with different ailments. Like I have this one I've been having to use quite a bit lately. This is my pain and inflammation tincture. I've had some issues with my arm due to overuse with the sewing and the crocheting and everything else. And I do have a video I just did on the carpal tunnel syndrome, and I'll go ahead and link to that. This is empty because I have a new one I still need to filter out and add to it, but this is our sleep and muscle relaxer. And some of it is homegrown herbs, some of it is herbs that I buy because I have yet to grow it. I'm going to try growing valerian root again this year, which is part of what's in here now. I have videos on how I made these particular tinctures, the pain, the muscle relaxer, and then another one.
Mrs. Randy in that snake oil over there, do you have OxyContin and?
No, absolutely not. And here is an antibiotic, and as I said in our medical prep video, I will get to this. It's still, I'm saving this for a video down the road, but this is something I grow in my own garden, and a lot of you probably already grow it and don't even realize it's a natural, very powerful antibiotic. And I gave this to my son one day. He had an ear infection, had been going on for 3 days, and he comes in and said, "Man, my ear's been bugging me," and he tells me about this. I'm like, "Really? Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I had him take some of this, and the next day, gone. No more pain. It was all healed up. So,
If I get sick, she just sends me out in the yard and tells me to graze.
all right. And then in here, and some of you have seen this before, these are just simply Moringa capsules I've made turmeric and black pepper capsules, and eggshell capsules. These are just for a supplement. These I don't use so much as a supplement as the moringa and the turmeric, as I use for when we need a little extra boost along with the tincture with our in helping with pain and inflammation. Just an example, just a very few of the herbs that I grow and use medicinally, but not just medicinally, is calendula flowers, nasturtium flowers, and nasturtium leaves. I just brought a jar of the flowers in, and I separate them out for a reason that I'll get to in another video where I go over the health benefits of nasturtiums. The leaves and the flowers have slightly different benefits. Feverfew, you've heard me talk about this one a lot. It is in my pain tincture. It's got the little white flowers, and I have a video specifically just on the Feverfew. And pansy flowers. I do have a video on the health benefits of pansies and why I grow them. And one more that I brought in, and again I have tons more than this, is the yarrow, and I also have a video on that. And instead of linking to each video above, at the end of this video I'll put in the end card, you'll see it in the screen at the end, just to the playlist of medicinal herbs and how I use them. Now, I'm showing that mostly that to just to show that yes, we use these herbs and stuff medicinally when we need them. However, just like the little supplements that I make, I think that when it comes to supplements, this is my personal opinion, again, it's just how I feel from just my years of studying. I really got into learning about health, supplementation, and all that stuff from the time I was 16. And through the years, I've learned a lot. And I went through a period of time where I believed in taking handfuls of supplements every morning, man-made supplements. And I trusted that they were healthy and they were right. I did learn about capsules being better than tablets, and this is still true. But you still don't really know what all they're putting in there a lot of the time. In my Facebook group page, the topic of supplementing with iodine came up. Now, I've done that before. When Mr. Rain and I were going off of our thyroid medication, we did for a brief time supplement with Lugel's iodine. We'd take a drop or two in the morning, and that was just to kind of help our thyroid along, because I believe during that time, as our body was having to really learn how to do what was already created to do instead of being dependent on a synthetic drug to do it for us, I believe that was necessary. But in our general day-to-day life, I do not believe iodine, in my personal opinion, is something we should be supplementing extra with. I know this is going to be a hot topic for some people because it is a cause of a lot of controversy. But as one who's done that and not done that, I believe it is not necessary as long as you start learning how to eat healthier and eat whole foods. Because there are many foods out there that do have iodine in them. Obviously, we know foods like wild-caught fish and sea vegetables are high in iodine, but most of us don't feel like eating wild-caught fish and sea vegetables every single day. And then if you're a vegan, that narrows it down even more.
Right.
There are other vegetables out there and foods like certain dairy. Obviously, if you're vegan, this isn't going to fall into there, but lots of dairies are high. If it's a good, healthy, raw, organic dairy, it's got a good amount of iodine in it. But there are some certain vegetables that you can grow in your own backyard. So just do the research. All you have to do is put into your browser foods high in iodine if you feel that you need to add more iodine to your food. Now I'm going to give you a website, Dr. Josh Axe. I give this one a lot. I'm going to put down below a link specifically to his article on iodine. And he does talk, because if you take iodine as a supplementation, it can be an overdose. So getting it through your food the natural way is going to be the best way. So look at the foods that are high in that. And he has a list of those, and he also goes over the whole thing and why we're deficient in iodine. Some of it, yes, is due to depleted soils, but some of it is also due to eating processed foods that are high in, I think it's bromelade or bromelain, I don't remember which one it is, and that actually counteracts the iodine. And so, you know, that is causing us to be depleted in it. So again, I go back to changing our mindsets. We shouldn't have to rely on supplementation, no matter how natural it is. If we're eating healthy, if we're eating whole foods in their most natural raw form, and if we're getting outside and getting that natural sun on our eyes, on our skin, and getting that vitamin D, because yes, on our eyes, I mentioned this in my lighting video, that unnatural lights like we're sitting under right now, we've got CFLs up here, we've got LEDs. Normally we don't sit under these lights, we're only in here like this because of, for your sake, so you can have good lighting for this video. But constantly being exposed to this kind of lighting is hard on your eyes and hard on our bodies in general. So getting outside and getting natural light as much as possible is going to be a huge step forward in being healthy. And another thing is how you eat, not just what you eat, but how you're eating. Most of us, especially here in America, I can't speak for other countries because I don't know how all of them eat, but we are overexposed to food. Meaning we constantly have food around us all the time. And we get in this habit of feeling like we got to eat all day long. And really what we need to do is get back into fasting. And a lot of people, when they hear the word fast, they kind of freak out and think, oh, that means that, you know, I have to go at least a whole day or 5 without eating. No, it doesn't. You know, there's something called intermittent fasting. And I find that I feel the most healthy if I only eat between the hours of 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. and don't eat. And then from 6 p.m. clear to 12 p.m. the next day, don't eat anything. I just have my jet fueled latte, some tea, water. That's it. And I always feel the best. I'm most energetic. I can lose weight easier when this happens. But as soon as I start eating breakfast, no matter how healthy it is, I start feeling worse again. I start putting on weight again. So just understand that, you know, we weren't actually meant to always have food there all the time. And I'm going to, you know, for those of you who don't like to hear the Bible, I'm sorry, but there is scripture that talks about, when it talks about Sodom and Gomorrah and why God destroyed them, one of the reasons had to do with their fullness of bread, which means they had food around them all the time. They never went without. They didn't know what it was like to live without food and to go hungry ever. And I think it's a good idea to experience that now and then. And plus, having those moments of starvation, which you're not starving, you just feel like you are if you're not used to it, helps your body to really reset itself too. It's just a really good habit to get into. And you got to find what works for you in that. I mean, I realize people who are dealing with diabetes and stuff like that have to have a regular eating schedule. Again, find what works for you. But remember, breakfast was called break fast for a reason. And from what I understand, back in the day, a lot of the farmers and stuff, they would go out, they would work, and they would come in and eat breakfast later in the day. So they went for a long time without eating. But I could be wrong on that, but that's what I read.
So fasting doesn't necessarily mean, okay, I'm going to stop eating and drinking for 30 days.
Right.
That just means you're going to stop eating or drinking a certain thing for a certain time. You know, there are several different facets in the fasting realm. So you have to decide what's safe for you and go ahead and pursue that. Right. I believe that kale and other brassica plants are they have a good source of. I know kale is one of the highest in protein, but I'm not sure. But I think they might also have iodine in them as well.
So, and that reminds me too, like stinging nettle, for instance, is very high in protein, and people see it as a medicinal herb. But we use it as a vegetable more than I do a medicinal herb. In fact, I still have yet to make a tincture or anything out of it because all the nettle I grow goes right into my mixed greens blend, which then goes into a lot of the foods that I make. In fact, I made Mr. Rain some elk sausage again for breakfast this morning, And right in there, besides throwing in some sage, which has great medicinal benefits, and thyme, more great medicinal benefits. But I put in the mixed greens blend, which has dandelion greens and nettle and all kinds of stuff. So we're getting all those good minerals and nutrients into our food as often as we can by doing it that way. And it's so easy to do. And if you're interested in learning about my mixed greens blend and you're new, I'll go ahead and post to that video, put a link to that video, is it right up there, I think.
Not in my eye, but
Not in his eye,
above
not under
my
his hat,
screen.
but up in that corner.
Wherever you're at, find out what your wild edibles are.
There's so many medicinals.
Natural, just raw, wild edibles. And
Most
figure
people
out
can
what-
get plantain and dandelion, and those are high in so
Right.
many great things.
yeah, plantain is very good for you. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got a video for that or not.
I haven't done a video on plantain. I've talked about it a little bit here and there, but I do have a couple of videos out about dandelion and the benefits of that. I believe that should be in that playlist I'm talking about putting at the end.
Right.
A couple of websites, a YouTube channel I want to turn you to is Dr. John Bergman's channel. He has so much great information, particularly on health disorders. So if you have fibromyalgia, you have hypothyroidism, you have Hashimoto's, you have whatever it is, diabetes, arthritis, you have problems with your feet, it doesn't matter. Type it into the search bar on his YouTube channel and you will find all kinds of great videos that go back, some of them go back years. He occasionally will do updates. Now, when we first went off our thyroid medication, I was looking for a doctor just like that I could learn more from, and I didn't find him until after we were already to the point that we were doing great. But I still enjoyed hearing everything I heard because there was a lot that he said that I already just knew instinctively had to be right, but I couldn't find any information on it, and I found him saying it, and I was just like, yes, I was right. And I wish I would have found him before. I think it would have made my transition a little bit easier understanding that. But with that in mind, I wanted to say that there's some things that you'll hear me say a lot that I actually got these phrases from him, like the whole idea of our bodies being made intelligent, and they are made intelligent, and we've been dumbing them down with vaccines and drugs for so many years. And that's why, it doesn't matter how many more vaccines they add, it doesn't matter how many more drugs they add. Look around you. Are people getting healthier or are they? That should be a pretty good indication of what you think, if whether or not you think that's really doing any good. I see people getting sicker all the time. I taught ballet for 27 years right here where we're at in this room. And in that period of time, I saw kids go from being healthy, almost never out sick, to having a day where sometimes I might only have a few kids in class because a good portion of them were out sick. That was abnormal when I first started teaching, but at the end of the 27 years, that became the norm. Where it was rare, I had a whole class full of healthy children.
Fast food isn't the answer, guys.
Right. So, and then some other things that he said that just makes so much sense, and this goes back to, again, the whole idea of this video, changing your mindset about health and looking around you and seeing how sick people are. Now let me ask you this question, and again, if you were to see a herd of buffalo, a herd of elk, a herd of whatever out in nature that suddenly started having thyroid issues, what do you think the community, whatever it would be, the health community, whatever, would they then think, oh, we need to start drugging this group of animals because let's give them thyroid replacement or whatever it is. Let's give them, something to bring their cholesterol down, or let's give them something to bring their blood pressure down. No, they would find what the root of the problem was. They would be going, what's causing these animals to have this problem? Why don't they do that with us?
What are they eating?
So, like
their
with
environment?
right. So, like with our blood pressure, that's another area we really need to change our mindset. We've been taught this, and now they've just raised it again, which makes me so angry. This normal number of what your blood pressure should be. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how tiny you are. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Your blood pressure should all be this number. And if it's not, then you need to go on drugs. I'm sorry, this is a problem because, again, our bodies are made intelligent. Our blood pressure is made naturally to go up and to go down depending on our needs of the minute and of the day. But if it's chronic high blood pressure and it never goes down, then you know there's an issue. But it's not a disease of blood pressure. It's not, high blood pressure is not a disease. It is a symptom of an underlying disorder, which could be gut disorders based on poor diet. It could be chronic stress in your life from an external source. Find the root of the problem. Don't turn to drugs to do it for you. Now, again, you're going to want, if you go into a doctor's office, don't you think it's natural that if you're a little stressed out because you don't know what the doctor's going to say, that your blood pressure is going to go up? Yes, and that's normal. It is part of the fight or flight reaction. It's totally a healthy reaction that our bodies have. So rethink the way you look at that, because I believe I want to say pretty much everyone that's on high blood pressure medicine shouldn't be on it. That's pretty broad and I need to be careful about that, but that is the way I feel personally. So if you're on blood pressure medicine, I would I'm not telling you to go off it. What I'm telling you is to start doing your own research and seeing what you can find, and maybe find another doctor and say, what is causing my blood pressure to be high? Seemed like you had something.
I would have to say, not 100%, but I would say a large percent of the drugs out there are like a Band-Aid over a flesh wound. The flesh wound is still there. The Band-Aid is just covering it up.
Right.
So you really have to look at what is causing, go to the root of the problem and see if you can figure out what the root, what's the basis here, you know. Like if you live around a nuclear dump site or underneath some power lines or something like that, you know, and everybody's,
Or a plastic bottle making.
yeah, you know, for something going on in your area, see if you can find out, well, gosh, you know, it seems like every other neighbor I have has the same issue, and maybe it's time to pick up and go, or I think there's a lot more ways of finding solutions to problems instead of just masking it or numbing it through chemicals or drugs or whatever the case may be. Do your own research, some things to think about.
One more story I wanted to tell before I finished up this video that has to do with improperly used drugs. And this is a story based on a person. I'm going to try to keep it very general, but to give you an idea. So this is somebody I know, and they were put on a hormone replacement therapy. And this person was waking up in the middle of the night. They were not able to sleep. They were having heart palpitations and all kinds of different things were going on. They knew something was wrong. They felt that they were constantly in the state of fight or flight, you know, heart racing, all this kind of stuff. And it was really starting to scare them. And they asked the doctor several times to do a blood test. The doctor just said, no, it's normal, you're fine, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't do a blood test. And this person pushed and pushed and pushed because the problem was getting worse. They finally did a blood test, and guess what they found out? That they were on way too high a dose of the hormone replacement they had put them on. And when I heard this, I just got mad all over again. And you can see, I get very passionate about this kind of thing. And so this person indirectly came to me wanting to know what kind of herbs and foods and stuff that they could do. in place of the drugs because they knew they couldn't trust their doctor anymore. And so, you know, we're just given, here, take this drug. We trust, we take it. Just like us with the thyroid medication.
They're
Oh,
playing,
okay.
playing Russian roulette.
Instead
They say,
of-
let's try this. Let's try
instead
this
of-
drug, and
Yeah.
you know, and if it don't come back and see me in 2 weeks and see if that works. You know, and you're
And then you start having
voluntarily
symptoms.
taking all this or getting shots and all that stuff. It's like, you know what?
And then you start having symptoms from the first drug, and so then you're given another drug to cover that symptom up, and then another and another. And none of these drugs, this is what a lot of people don't know, none of them have been tested against each other taking multiple drugs at the same time. None of them. As far as I know, none of them, last I heard. And so you're being used as a guinea pig whenever they do that to you. And I have a family member who has suffered as a result of the constant throwing more drugs and throwing more drugs. And this family member has total, or at least did, complete trust in the doctors, so just kept taking everything they were giving them. And at one point they were on at least 4 different antidepressants, all for pain, all at once, which later caused some other very serious problems. And so you can see me, how passionate I am. It's because this angers me that I see loved ones going through this because they trusted the man in the white coat or the woman.
Which is bad for my blood pressure.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Ray. So again, you've got to really take control of your own health and start analyzing these things for yourself. Start asking questions. If you're still going to the same doctor, ask questions. I wanted to say again that a lot of you have been watching us for quite a while. You might already know this, but if you're new, you might not know. Mr. Rain and I were on thyroid medications each for 15 years. And we don't have naturopaths around us. We live in a small remote town. We just decided on our own we're going to do this. And we weaned ourselves off the thyroid medication, and I was studying and learning as much as I could during that process, finding the foods that help boost the thyroid and learning how to incorporate them into our daily diet. And we're doing much better without the thyroid medication, to the point that he had to go in for a CDL. And the doctor they have all your records. Oh, I see you haven't renewed your thyroid medication in a while. And, well, I stopped taking it, doc. And, what? The guy freaked out, like, oh, you can die if you're not on thyroid.
You can't stop that.
You can't stop taking thyroid medication. You could die. Well, it's been, almost 6 years now? He's still alive and
I am The
kicking.
Walking Dead, though. But.
But, so the doctor demanded he got blood tests done and all that, and we never heard another word from him. So
Crickets.
crickets. I mean, we never did call and say, hey, what was the result? Because I really believe that if there was an issue, they would have been calling him up saying, you need to get down there and get
No
on.
phone calls means it's good news.
No news is good news when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, webpage I wanted to mention, and that is Wellness Mama. She was really my go-to page when I was really starting to look into other ways that I could do things, as far as, making my own homemade mascara, whatever. The vitamin gummies that I have a video on, a lot of these ideas I got from her. I added my own twist to them to make them mine and to suit me better. But Wellness Mama is where I got a lot of my great recipes for these things, and she has tons of stuff out there. Highly recommend her. And she also does a lot of herb profiles too. And also check out my blog page. It's kind of in the box down below. Don't forget to hit the show more button to find all these things that I say I'm going to link to. Some people don't blog page. I do some herb profiles, and I have a lot of videos, like I mentioned, about herb profiles. But Wellness Mama, I think, has even more, because she's been doing the blog thing for quite a while. Really great information. So Dr. Bergman, Dr. Josh Axe, Wellness Mama are just a few of some really good web pages. Plus, I also have a list of herbal books down below. They're always in my description box that I use.
Amy Fuel.
And Amy Fuel, I think I have her book. I don't have it yet, but I believe I still have her book linked below. I did the pre-order as soon as it was available for pre-order, and it's going to be out in April. So I'm looking forward to that. April of 2018 if you're watching this down the road. So if it's past that, go look it up. or you can do the pre-order on Amazon like I did. So anyway, I think that's about it. And I do have many more videos out about health. Oh, one more thing. I forgot to say, I do have a video series, a 3-part series on how we went pharma-free. If you're specifically looking for the thyroid one, that is part 3, where I go more specifically about what we did differently to help us as we went off the thyroid and help our body to relearn how to produce its own thyroid naturally. Okay, that's it.
Take charge of your life, guys.
All right. So thanks for watching,
Take care.
and God bless.